Welcome once again to yet another episode of the Beard Al Podcast, the podcast about two of the greatest things in the world, beer and Weird Al. And again, I've lied. That's not a beer. That's a seltzer. I just needed to do the can crack. So, haha. But yeah, so this is a special, different kind of out of the ordinary episode for us here at Beard Al because Russ is here as usual. Hello.
Hello.
And we are joined by Alan Ing, the editor-in-chief of Film Threat, to talk some Weird Al and movies. Hello.
Good. Yeah, so I can't help you with the beer part.
That's okay.
We can talk about the weird part.
That's right. Like I said, I'm not even drinking beer now either, but I have to crack a can at the beginning of the show. It's just law at this point. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I, like Russ said before we started recording, he listens to you talk about movies pretty much every day. And then I was like, he had to have reviewed Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, right? Yeah. And then I went and I found it and I was like, okay, he liked it. Good.
Yeah, yeah, that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at the Newport Beach Film Festival, in fact.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It was. I think it was one of the premieres. It wasn't the premiere, but it was some kind of a premiere. To the point that Dr. Demento was in the audience.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Did you get to meet the good doctor? Or?
No, this is like in a massive movie theater.
Oh,
and
right.
So, he was way off in the corner. I'm pretty sure he got mobbed afterwards.
Well, yeah, in a crowd like that, Dr. Demento is absolutely going to get mobbed like that. Oh, but that's amazing. All I did was I set my Roku to be as far east as possible so that I didn't have to wait until midnight to watch it. So my Roku thought I was in Romania for a bit there. But yeah, I just watched that.
So you didn't see it in a movie theater?
No.
I did.
No.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong. I think only the major markets, like I think LA and New York, are the only places that did play in theaters.
Actually, it was mostly these festival runs. They did special screenings. I think there was the premiere, and then there was the Newport Beach one, and there may have been an East Coast one, but yeah, it was right to Roku.
Yeah, that was the
Which
joke
was
the whole time, exclusively on Roku.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a filmmaker myself, and I know that they probably have to jump through many, many hoops these days that I would never understand. But that was only the one bummer about the film for me was that everyone I've talked to, hey, did you see that? Oh no, we don't have Roku, or I don't know how to watch it. That was a bit of a setback.
Yeah, I'll talk about the way things are done, but Roku is not exactly big budget, and so they my guess is they didn't want to go through the process of a theatrical release because there's a cost to that, advertising and so on. And so, just like Netflix, it's easier just to put it on their platform than to, advertise a theater run.
Yeah, which, hey, but at least we got the movie, And speaking of Weird Al movies that did get a theater run, Weird the Al Yankovic Story was not Mr. Yankovic's first foray into motion picture. Of course, we have UHF, the beautiful, beautiful film from 1989, and it did not do super well when it came out because, the summer of 1989 had stuff like Batman, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Lethal Weapon 2, License to Kill.
Yeah, but who's ever heard of those?
Right.
Yeah. Like those aren't much. Did you see Batman or Batman? Of course you saw Batman in the theater. Did you get to see UHF in the theater?
Not in the theater, no. Look, it found its life on VHS, the video market. But I remember I watched it recently and, it was MGM put it out. So it was not like a small studio and, they pumped a lot of money into that thing. The production values are pretty incredible. I assume they just gave them access to all these movie sets that hadn't been torn down yet.
Yeah. That's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's like, wow, this is a quality production, for a film that is basically a parody film and one of Weird Al. So
yeah,
good on MGM for giving them the budget for it.
Right. One of my favorite anecdotes about UHF and the production of it is that a lot of the billboards for the fake businesses that they talk about in the movie, they actually built billboards. I think it was in like Tulsa, Oklahoma for it. And the Spatula City billboard hung out for a long time after filming wrapped, and people got very very confused.
That's great. Well, that's one thing like Chris and Alan talk a lot about on Film Threat is you lament the loss of practical effects. You know, and nowadays that would be they probably source a photo of the area and then just create the billboard. You know,
put on the volume or something. And,
yeah. I did see UHF in the theater, and I will never forget the giant piece of subtle shade that my mom threw at UHF without even knowing it. We went and saw Tim Burton's Batman the night before, and like as the origin of the term blockbuster comes from, there was literally a line out the door and several blocks.
Yeah.
And then we went to the same theater the same day in the middle of the day the next day for my mom and I to see UHF, to which my mom innocently said, "There's a lot less people here for this movie."
Yeah.
So yeah, like, I mean, I am incredibly biased. I absolutely love UHF, and I would rather watch UHF than any of the other 1989 summer movies that I mentioned previously. But like, all of its competition aside, like, why didn't it land initially?
Why didn't it land? I think it, back in the late 80s and the 80s and late 80s and 90s, I think a lot of films were driven by the stars. And as much as we hate to admit it, Weird Al didn't have the following that Batman had. And, it was also, it was also weird. I mean, it comes off the heels of Airplane and like Top Secret. And so, the movie is what the movie is, and I like it for that. But it isn't Airplane. It isn't Top Secret. And Top Secret failed at the box office too.
Yeah.
So,
which bums me out so much, but it's true.
Yeah, and the video. I mean, the 80s VHS video. Burgeoning market. Back then, that's when the popularity of video rentals really started to ramp up. Blockbuster hadn't even shown up yet at that point. And so, the discerning market is, I guess the way to sum it up, it was a different time then. In 89, if you drew a 10-mile radius around my house, probably 30 screens at most that I could go to. That's why the blockbuster people were lined up for blocks, because there weren't a whole lot of theaters at that point to see it. Now I probably live within 200 theaters in a 10-mile radius.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting you brought up the lineage of like Airplane and Top Secret for sure. We just watched it again recently, UHF, and I made a comment to my wife. I said, if I have a complaint about the movie, like from a completely critical standpoint, the comedy in UHF doesn't really know what it is. Like there's the parodies, which you would come to the movie for Weird Al. There's very like straightforward comedic scenes, but then suddenly there will be Airplane style moments in the film, like the take that ridiculous thing off with the mustache and things like that. Where and I told Lauren though that if you put that in the hands of just a regular comedic audience that goes in and says, I just want to laugh, and you're shooting the comedy in different directions, I could see why people would not recommend it to someone else.
Yeah, it's for all intent and purpose, it's a sketch movie. It's a series of sketches. These different UHF shows and channels and commercials and things strung together by a plot. It's basically going back to the Zucker brothers, Kentucky Fried Movie. It's just a series of sketches. And if you watch my interview with David Zucker, he'll tell you that you've got to have a story. That's what they learned with Top Secret, is you have to have a strong story or people just don't connect with it. And he'll admit, he fell into Top Secret fell into popularity. It was critically panned. It didn't do well at the box office, but it found a life afterwards. And that's exactly what happened with UHF.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you think about it, really, UHF as a movie is essentially a movie version of a Weird Al album because it's going in all directions at the same time, like his albums often do. But I think the reason it's aged so well is that a lot of the way the humor works in it is internet humor before the internet was a thing. You have those little tiny jokes, things happen really quickly, and just the endless quotability of it. Like there's little things that you don't even need context for, but they're just funny,
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I listened to a interview with Weird Al a couple of years ago, and he talks about, making albums today. Whenever he prepares an album, he's already behind the game because there are already parodies of those songs on the internet. And so he's got to come at it extra hard in order for him to maintain, the Weird Al songs. But he used to be able to just, put out a song months later after the song becomes a hit and have that one take off. He just can't rely on that anymore.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
I just watched a great interview with Weird Al where he was talking about how we just don't have a monoculture anymore. And that's why he can't do the thing that he did, because it's just like you said, he'd be able to do something months later and people were still laughing at it. But like, I don't even remember a hit song from 2 months ago, let alone, giving Weird Al enough time to put an album around it.
Yeah. And like Alan was saying too, though, it's got to be a strange place for Weird Al to be in where there's no denying that he would have a massive impact on all of these people who do these parodies and whatnot. And then to be sort of having, I don't want to say his career is killed because he's more successful now than he ever was, but have your album cycle killed by the machine that you helped create it's got to be, it's got to be frustrating. So,
yeah. But I mean, to his credit, he does it the best and he continues to do it. I mean, was it the Robin Thicke song?
Word Crimes. Perfect.
Word Crimes. I mean, that's only Weird Al could have.
Only Weird Al could do that. I teach college writing, and I actually played that for one of my first year writing classes last semester. And this one student, she came up to me afterwards, and she goes, "I've never heard of this Mr. Yankovic, but I think I could learn a lot from him." And I said, "Yes, you can."
When you said only Weird Al could do that, we talk a great deal on this show about just there's levels of brilliance in Weird Al's work that most people don't even uncover. And one of the examples I always go to is, in the hands of anybody else, blurred lines could have been fumbled so easily as far as a parody goes. And then for Weird Al to take it, make it into something educational, and then hands down, my favorite thing in that is the "You're the hottest," in this place from the Thicke song. He turns into "You would not use it's in this case," which no one else would ever think of that. And it's just I love the fact that album is such an exclamation point on his album career. It's the first #1 album he ever had, and it's loaded with Weird Al brilliance.
It is.
Yeah. When did
there's something to be said about now taking your time.
Oh yeah,
and, not feeling rushed to get a parody out there.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I watched the Michael movie, and I can't help but think about "Eat It" and "Fat."
Well, that's it's funny. That's a running joke. I'm a huge MJ fan, and I love the movie. I told her about it 2 days before the film came out. You guys had a fair review of it, and I told her, I said, "Okay, I don't care what else the media says. Film Threat gave a fair review, and I'm happy." So I ended up looking forward to it. But it's been a running joke in our house about the MJ film because depending on what source you go to on the internet, people say, "Oh, they left so much out." And I always say to her, I can't believe that they didn't cover that Michael ripped off "Beat It" from Weird Al,
Yep.
But at least we have that in Weird Al Yankovic Story, even though they were too cowardice to cover it in the Michael
That's
film.
true. And
exactly.
You gave me a great segue into talking about Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. And also, speaking about taking your time, he did wait 33 years before dipping his toe back into the feature film waters.
He just put out another one just like that.
Like blam, just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to take credit for too many things here. But the Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, obviously, it started as a Funny or Die sketch. And I was doing an episode of this show about that Funny or Die sketch, and then 1 week later they announced that Weird, the Al Yankovic Story was actually becoming a movie. And on that episode, my guest and I were like, they really need to make a full movie of it. And we talked about how we would want to see that happen, and then it happened. So I'm not taking credit for it.
So before we discuss the film, is there anything you would like us to wish into existence?
Because we have power.
Oh gosh, I'm so deep into movies. If you ask me what songs should be done, I couldn't. I mean, first of all, music today is awful.
That's a fact.
Pop music today is awful. There's, it's all about the beat and the rhythm versus the lyrics, and the melding of the lyrics with the music. That I feel like that day is long gone. I think maybe country is the only one that really takes that seriously.
Yeah, I mean that's totally fair. I don't even know what Weird Al could do anymore. So
no, I just meant if there's a movie that Alan would like us to wish into existence, not even Weird Al based, just anything,
A movie?
Yeah, I mean we're finally getting another Spaceballs film. Is there a sequel we could talk about?
We've been talking about this since Spider-Man came out, but if there was ever a superhero movie, it would be the Hellfire Club storyline.
Oh,
I'd take that.
Yeah,
because they would never make it, for one, but two, if they did, it would be such a powerful movie.
Yeah.
No, I agree. You mentioned when you said a minute ago.
Will it into being?
Yeah. So you can expect about a week after this episode comes out that they'll announce that.
No, they'll announce it and they'll talk about how they're going to ruin it.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, there are things that happen to Jean Grey in there that is like, that would be very brave of Marvel Studios to tell that story.
Which are not words people put into a sentence very often. Very brave in Marvel Studios.
Yeah, I just don't think they have it within them to do it.
Yeah. When you said that earlier about your, pop music today is bad, it's interesting because you and I have kids who are about the same age. Like I've heard you talk a lot of times on Film Thread about, you'll use your daughter as a point of reference. Like you'll say, my daughter doesn't even like this, or my daughter doesn't even want to go to this. And I always say that to people because my son is 21 and he, I don't think he's bought anything released by an artist in the last, 15 years, So I always try and keep that as a reference. Like, it's not that I'm becoming old, because people always say, oh, well, when you reach a certain age, you think everything's bad. All the new stuff is bad. No, it's just really bad. And even the young folks today don't want to listen to or see this stuff.
Yeah. They don't see movies. They don't listen to music.
Yeah.
No.
And I have a theory, and you're far more of an expert than I am. I feel like if they bring the quality level up, that people will go see films and buy albums.
Yeah. Well, we did a story not too long ago where basically this one research organization asked Gen Z, about their movie going habits and things like that. And ultimately the results were that Gen Z is attracted to the old style of storytelling than the new style of storytelling. And I say that in the sense of, we've been making movies. Humanity has been making movies for well over 100 years. They knew how to tell a story 100 years ago. That formula hasn't changed much to today, but there seems to be a resistance to telling stories the way they should be told. And somehow Gen Z will always be drawn back to the old style storytelling because it's compelling. I don't know if you want me to go too far in depth.
No, I think that's incredibly interesting because it makes complete sense. To kind of tie it in with what Weird, the Al Yankovic Story does, it's hitting that music biopic in a way that like we're familiar with the way that story gets told, right? But it's kind of putting a funhouse mirror up to this thing that we're already like familiar with the way that it goes. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to touch a little bit on like what are they actually turning away from?
Yeah, well, what they're turning away from is this lecturing that stories go into. That rather than tell you how the world is, they tell you how the world should be in their minds. But the reality is if you want people to fall in love with your story has to connect with your audience. Meaning, you doesn't matter the gender, the race, the sexual orientation of your characters. If the experiences they go through in that movie is an experience that you are going through, that's where you make that connection, and that's where a movie becomes meaningful. Even fantasy, like My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. There are elements of that children relate to in that show that makes it that is the reason why children are attracted to that show, because they connect with it, they relate to it. And then we talk about the hero's journey. There's usually a good story is it's a conflict that you've lived through in your life or are living through now. Your character is like you, they have a hard time overcoming that conflict because of some inherent weakness that they have. They learn to overcome that weakness and overcome that conflict, and at the end they become a better person. That for some reason that simple formula works every time, over and over and over again, in all genres, in horror, in romance, in drama, in comedy. That stuff works, and we veer away from it. That we going to music there. I've been on this kick where I've been listening to Bee Gees, Phil Collins, and I found these videos on YouTube of Gen Z vocal coaches going to these old songs, these ancient classics, and then just analyzing it critically from a music and a lyrical standpoint. And they are just blown away by how incredible these songs are. From the Bee Gees, from Neil Diamond, Phil Collins. These are I mentioned them because these are your balladeers. These are the ones who put a lot in their lyrics and then have the music to match it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And it's, first of all, I love everybody that you mentioned. And I was like, yeah, more people do need to listen to those guys because they're fantastic. And they're doing exactly
listen to it, learn from it, and then replicate it. Write your own songs like them.
That's it. That's exactly it. And like, that's just, I'm trying to because I feel like the Weird Al plays in a lot of those sandboxes, right? Because he sees something, he replicates it, but in his own way. And that's kind of how weird the El Yankovic Story happened too. And this movie was exactly what I expected it to be in the best possible, best possible way. Like
if Weird Al was to make a movie about his life,
what would it be? Because I mean, are you familiar with the mockumentary that Weird Al put out in 1985 called The Complete Al?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, I haven't seen that in decades.
I literally just watched it last week because I don't know why, but I did. But anyway,
it's in our Amazon stuff.
It's my Amazon stuff, so it was there. But if you're familiar with that, it completely blew my mind how so many people in the Weird Al spaces where I live on the internet were seriously thinking that Weird Al Yankovic Story was going to be a legitimate biopic, and I was like, you guys, have you watched The Complete Al? There are going to be kernels of truth throughout all of this, but it's not going to be a legit true biopic, And then when it came out, I was
there weren't even kernels of truth in it. It's just
well, there was a door-to-door accordion salesman. He didn't beat him up. His dad didn't beat him up, but there was a door-to-door accordion salesman.
According to what you say.
Okay.
According to what
the kernel.
I did find the kernel, But I mean, what? So Weird Al wasn't murdered by Madonna's goons in 1985 after performing Amish Paradise?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. In Central America.
Oh, right.
Right.
It's just come on. It's just entirely too much. Could you I know we talked about how you had a good you had a positive review of this after it had come out. Just some of your initial like thoughts on what Weird the Al Yankovic Story was, and was it what you were expecting?
I I knew it wasn't gonna be anything close to the truth, which was fine. But you know, like a Weird Al parody song, it goes off the rails immediately, and it never looks back. And I thought Daniel Radcliffe was brilliant, uh,
Yeah.
but it was all these, I don't know, silly movies are hard to make because they lean sometimes too hard into the silliness. You know, they're silly for silly sake. Um, but I think this one, the main reason it works is because it comes at you like a machine gun. It's just one silly moment after the other. It's also, I think we've, in terms of comedy, what appears in the movie are things we've said in our lives, or, what was the band? I forget the one David Dastmalchian, is it the Who? Um,
Oh, from Queen.
yeah, Queen. That's right,
Queen.
Queen. And
John Deacon. I'm the bassist for
yeah,
Queen.
John Deacon, the obscure member of Queen appears. And, and yeah, how Michael Jackson ripped off Fat. Um, you know, I mean, look, I look fondly at that movie, and like, I'll brag again. I saw it in a movie theater. I saw it in a packed theater of at least 2,000 people.
I love that.
And there's something about watching a comedy with 2,000 other people that just becomes infectious. You miss jokes because people are laughing so much. And so, yeah, the Weird is basically the Weird Al parody of Weird Al's life.
Yeah.
And he nailed it. He
absolutely nailed it. And they did it in something like 18 days from beginning to end. They made the whole thing. I had Eric Appel on this show to talk about Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. And what absolutely blew my mind was that he might have watched it since then, but prior to working on that movie with Al, he hadn't seen Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. He had kind of given up watching like the parody sort of films for a while because they kind of fell off and stopped being as good as he remembered from some of the ones we mentioned earlier. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you didn't see that and you made this? Like that's amazing. So I love that it wasn't trying to be anything other than what it was supposed to be.
Well, you know what it is. What really worked is the director knew exactly how it needed to look and how it needed to be paced. Going in with knowing exactly what needs to be done, makes me believe it was shot in 17 days because you know what you want. David Zucker, you watch my interviews with him. Same thing. They understand this type of comedy and they know how to shoot it on film. Yep. And they know how to tweak these things when they've been shot on film. And so the reason the parodies I think failed over time is because I'll liken it to Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park to me is the best CG movie ever made, and it was the first because you have these people who are exploring a new technology and pursuing excellence with it. We need these damn dinosaurs to look damn real, and so a lot of care and attention was put to it. And the same thing with Airplane. A lot of care and attention. They knew exactly what to do. And when these movies find success, you find people trying to do the same thing, and they don't understand why they're good. They don't know how to replicate why they're good or how to make them good. And so the parody films that followed, like all the Not Another movies, just got lazy. We'll just do one silly thing after the other. We'll write. I always when joke writing. I always throw out the first joke, and I would much rather tell the fourth or fifth version of that joke as opposed to the first one, because the first one is low hanging fruit.
Yep.
To develop it from there, and I think that's what Weird Al does. He could easily just do a word for word replacement of a song and make that a Weird Al parody, but he goes much deeper into that to take blurred lines and make it word crimes. That's what Weird Al does. Goes off. Party in the USA. The CIA song.
It's so funny.
The what was it? The Avril Lavigne one.
A complicated song. Where
Complicated. I mean, that's just brilliant.
Well, I always think
Can't stop
about,
listening to that song.
like you're saying, the premise of some of the jokes he throws out there are just amazing. Like, and this isn't a parody, but one of his originals is what's the corporate song with
Mission Statement.
Yeah, Mission Statement. Holy cow.
Mission Statement. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that I'm sure there's people that's lost on that. Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young would never sing about these things. He has off of Polka Party is Dog Eat Dog, which is a pastiche of the Talking Heads, but it's all about how much he loves his corporate life, which is something David Byrne would shudder to. So even the premise is levels above what other people play at. That's before he delivers on the lyrics. One thing I wanted to ask you about concerning UHF is there's a big UHF event happening out your way that we're not going to be able to get to.
It's out in Linwood, maybe, or
it's is it at the Hollywood Bowl or where is it at?
I don't know exactly, but it's over Halloween weekend. UHF is being shown in a theater somewhere for its 37th anniversary, because that's a big one.
Right,
and
you like to celebrate the 37th.
Al's going to be there and a bunch of other folks from it doing like a Q&A and things like that. And I know I know several people that are going to it. So
here it is. Okay, so it's on Halloween. It's at the Greek Theater here in LA. Weird Al will be there in person, and it is basically a live orchestra to the original score of UHF.
Yes, and that's really cool that they're doing it, because they are also putting out on vinyl for the first time ever the 37th anniversary release of the original UHF score, and I've pre-ordered ours. Don't worry about it.
Right. Of course.
But yeah, I think that's really cool, and that it's going to have the orchestra doing it while the movie happens, and Weird Al will be there. What a way to spend Halloween!
I mean, they do it for the marquee films, like obviously, Empire Strikes Back. They do that type of thing. So obviously UHF is next in line for that treatment, I would think. That would probably, in your expert opinion, Alan, you would probably put UHF right in that discussion with
what, in terms of scores?
Yeah. Yes.
No.
I know.
But I'll play along with the joke.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. No,
Right.
no, don't quote him on that.
Right.
Don't quote him in our sarcasm. But I know we said we were going to talk for around a half an hour, and we have done that. So being respectful of everybody's time here, I just have one kind of ending question for you. Between UHF and Weird the Al Yankovic Story, if somebody has never seen either one of them, which one do you think they should watch first?
Oh gosh, Weird. I think I would. If you're as old as me, UHF, but if you're new to the Weird Al universe, Weird, definitely Weird.
I like that. I like that.
And also it'll give people a good idea of what a parody film is supposed to look like as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I heard your recent review of the latest Scary Movie, and it's like we've fallen so far that someone needs to be able to see what a good parody movie can look like.
Yeah. I think that's great. Yeah. Well, Alan, thank you so much for talking some Weird Al movies with us, and
Thanks for having me.
More people should be like Russ and listen to Film Threat.
Yeah,
every day.
Listen and watch.
Listen and watch.
That's what I am blessed to be able to work from home. So I leave the YouTube channels I trust the most on all the time. And Film Thread is, I've actually said to my wife before when she said, "Hey, what do you think about?" Oh no, Chris and Alan said we shouldn't watch that, and so we don't.
I mean, we are the only outlet that gives true takes.
I totally agree. I really do. What as we wrap up, is there anything else Film Threat wise that we need to let everybody else know about? I mean,
let's see. Well, we are on the cusp of 169,000.
Oh yeah, that's Alan's big goal. They're almost there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
help us get there. Subscribe to the channel, YouTube channel, Film Threat, at Film Threat. You can also follow me on X at my pal Al. Where
the most popular man on Twitter right now.
Yeah, I've been at it against these Nolan bros.
Oh no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he had the nerve to have an independent opinion, and you know how that goes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just say for a day on Rotten Tomatoes, I was the only negative review of the Odyssey.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, that's
and
how
the
it
world
goes.
let me know about it.
Sure did.
They sure. Oh my goodness.
Well, help Alan accomplish his dream. Go to subscribe to Film Threat on YouTube and inch him closer to what. Are you guys just closing subscriptions when you hit 169? You
Yeah,
just turn them off.
You just stop it.
That's fair.
Yeah, why go further?
Right. Right.
That's awesome.
All right.
Oh, well, thank you, everybody. And as I always close these episodes, be kind, bring joy, repeat. Thank you. Bye. Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.